back with Travel Michigan. I'm George Zimmerman along with Michelle Benashin. Michelle, as we mentioned before the break, next stop is Kalamazoo for a very unusual event. Yes.
Yeah, we're going back in time, so to speak.
Yes, we are.
We're talking with Leslie Martin Conwell, CEO of the Kalamazoo Living History Show. And Leslie, let's just start out. What is living history?
Living history, we think, is fun history. It's something that was developed some years ago to bring life to the history books. Some people know it by the term reenacting.
Okay.
But basically, living history puts the life into history. It brings history books to life, usually through the use of interpreters wearing period clothing or craftspeople doing a period craft. So you are brought right up and close and personal to that particular time period or that particular heritage craft, and it's just a great way to learn one-on-one your history.
So the event you're doing next weekend in Kalamazoo, is there a particular time period that you're portraying?
You know, we've actually got some folks portraying medieval times this year.
Wow.
And then we go all the way up to 1890. So whether you're a medieval French and Indian War, Revolutionary War, Civil War, War of 1812, or if you're into the cowboy stuff, there's sure to be something for you there.
And do they just all kind of mix and mingle, or are there stations in history?
You know, it's funny. They all play together very nicely. Because the thing about living history, too many times, I think, events portray one particular time period, which is great because, you know, if you're doing a Civil War event or a French and Indian War, that's fine. But under one roof at the Kalamazoo Expo Center and Fairgrounds, all these time periods come together. And what's interesting is some of these people that come and are craftspeople there, they sometimes do what we do call cross-dressing into different time periods. For instance, they might do Revolutionary War at one event, but Civil War at another. So it's just a great way for all time periods to get together and learn from each other, I think.
You know, when a lot of us hear about, reenactments, I think a lot of us think about the kind of battlefield reenactment that goes on for various wars, Civil War, very popular, but others too. Now, is there some of that, or is this more of an indoor recreation?
You know, since we're indoors, we can only do so much.
Okay.
But there actually is an artillery unit. They will be indoors, and they will not be firing.
Good.
But it's
good plan.
Yeah, it's a War of 1812 artillery group, which, of course, that particular history is timely. It's the bicentennial of the War of 1812.
Right.
They'll be talking about their equipment. So while you won't see any battles there, you're going to see things all the way from Native American dancing. We've got a Potawatomi group that's there, to all sorts of different crafts, children's activities. So there will definitely be a lot going on.
You know, I would think that this kind of what you're doing there, and so how many folks are actually kind of participating as reenactors or whatever you want to,
each day there will be almost 600 of
Wow.
them there under the one roof. So quite a few representing different time periods.
And is this like some of the Renaissance festivals where people tend to stay in character, or is it not so much that?
No, actually, a lot of them do.
Okay.
So that makes it interesting. You can actually talk to somebody from a long time ago.
Yeah. And I would assume then that families are a big part of the audience because of the ability for young people, for kids to kind of learn about history in a much more interactive way.
You know, it really is. And one wonderful thing this year, the Expo Center has built on a new addition that's over 20,000 square feet. So we get to do some things we haven't had the room to do in the past. And one of those is children's activities. There will be a special activity area where at no extra charge, children will be stringing beads, trying on the period costumes, learning about fur trading and getting some free trinkets. So it's very much family oriented, we think.
Yeah, and Kalamazoo, you've been doing this kind of thing for a long time, right? It started.
Yeah, this is our 37th year.
Wow.
It started out as a one-room small show. It has blossomed into something that attracts over 10,000. So we ourselves have a pretty interesting history, but this is a big step with the addition of this new building. We are now able to add some not-for-profit organizations For instance, the Michigan Maritime Museum will be there.
Okay.
The National Center for Great Lakes Indian Studies will be there. The National Muzzleloading Rifle Association. So we are able to expand and enhance what we've done in the past.
And are both the audience and the participants, if you will, are those primarily coming from the Kalamazoo area of Michigan, or are they coming from outside of the state as well?
Well, of course, we get some from Kalamazoo because they know the great tradition of the show. But we have people routinely come from California, Texas, the East Coast, quite a few people from Canada. I'm aware of somebody that flew in from Mexico last year. So it really is quite the large gathering. We have participants from 19 states coming. Wow. So it's a kind of a big gathering.
Well, I have to tell you, my sister does Civil War reenacting, and she travels all over the country literally doing this. So I think it's a very dedicated group of folks that are interested in this.
Yes, we think so too. One other thing that we're doing, because while many of us have been doing this for a long time, we realize that we have to, like anything else, we have to continue to bring in new blood. So we are adding a bunch of craft demonstrations this year, including beadwork, brain tanning, a rifling machine. They'll be rifling a barrel, gourd working, silhouette cutting, and flint knapping. So for those people that aren't particularly old-timers in history, if they're looking to get involved by learning some of these crafts and going to the demonstrations, we think it's a good way.
You know, this is a very unusual event. Are there many of these around the country? I'm not really familiar with, an indoor reenactment, kind of mass reenactment like this.
There are some on a smaller scale. The Kalamazoo Show, Living History Show, is the largest east of the Mississippi.
I see.
So here in our own backyard, we do have the largest east of the Mississippi. But there are opportunities across the country. But the Kalamazoo Show is the one where people come literally from all over the country and Canada to see some of the finest craftsmen, we think, in the business. And
so it's next Saturday and Sunday in Kalamazoo, obviously. Given the size of it, the scope of it, I assume many people spend most of the day there?
They do. And then we also offer a discounted weekend pass that you can get Saturday. And that's for those people that want to take 2 days to enjoy the show. And we highly recommend that because the show is very large, but there's also other attractions in the Kalamazoo area that are certainly worth checking out, some great hotels and restaurants. So I believe if you go to discoverkalamazoo.com, then you can see what other attractions are there, and we think make a weekend of it.
Absolutely. In fact, we held our annual tourism conference there last year, and what's going on downtown in Kalamazoo is really right. Spectacular. Like you say, with the restaurants, shops, that kind of thing. It's a very nice downtown, and for folks who haven't been there in a long time, definitely do want to check it out and spend the weekend for this event.
We think so.
Yep. All right. Well, that's Leslie Martin Conwell, the CEO of the Kalamazoo Living History Show, which is next weekend in Kalamazoo. The website for the event is kalamazooshow.com, as it should be. I mean, that makes perfect sense. And of course, we'll have a link to that from michigan.org from our website. Now, also coming up all over the state, we've got many, many other events. And Michelle, you're going to give us at least a sampling of those events.
Absolutely. Yes. There are a number of events happening across the state. And of course, we got to start by getting into the spirit of one of my favorite holidays, which is St. Patrick's Day. Mm-hmm. The National Dance Company of Ireland is bringing the rhythm of the dance to the Lake Michigan College Mendel Main Stage Theater in Benton Harbor March 13th. And then in Lexington, the city has their St. Patrick's Weekend celebration featuring a pub crawl and a St. Patrick's Day parade. Kind of keeping in that spirit of celebration, Boyne Mountain brings Mardi Gras to the mountain March 16th through 18th with skiers and snowboarders getting dressed up and heading out for the famous Slush Cup. Down in Detroit, they're going to be celebrating, but something completely different. Championship hockey is at Joe Louis Arena. For the 31st consecutive year, the Joe hosts the CCHA Championship Tournament with the final 4 teams fighting it out for number 1 March 16th through 17th. The Ann Arbor Symphony presents Masterworks at the Michigan Theater March 17th. And we have a couple of good trade shows happening next weekend with the Flint Camper and RV Show going on at the Arena and Event Center, March 15th through 18th, and the Lansing Home and Garden Show setting up shop at Michigan State University Pavilion, March 15th through 18th. So a lot of things happening, and there's so much more happening, and you can find all of that at michigan.org.
Yep, all those events at michigan.org. Obviously, we've got literally hundreds, probably, again, thousands at this point of events on michigan.org. Coming up, we're going to talk to Doug Stanton, the founder of a very unusual event up in the Traverse City area, and that's the National Writers Series. I don't know that we've done a segment on a writer series, maybe ever. But
well, this is a great time to start.
This will be a first, that's for sure. So that'll be coming up in our next segment of Travel Michigan. And again, remember to check out all those events that Michelle mentioned and many more at michigan.org. Because again, your trip does begin at michigan.org.